For the second half of our show. We're picking up right where we left off. So, as Ponzi peels himself off the ground, spitting out a chunk of grass, and Yizit attempting to herd the horde of druids, I guess we will call them. Catan is sort of looking over the side of the ship that is now level, as it usually is while it's in flight. And you can see Ponzi sort of just pulling himself up off the ground.
Should I make like an animal handling check?
No.
Okay.
You're sort of just pushing them forward and they're kind of shuffling along. And Grafford is looking through the very sort of gnome-sized hole. There are several parts of it that are creaky and very, very destroyed, such as the sails. And immediately as Poncilius stands up, he says, "Well, make more of this," and he holds up a shard of a fragmentation of lumber. Do you, turns around and looks up at you, Grafford, do you have any sort of schematics or anything that we could use, that we could reference when reconstructing the vessel?
I believe I might have something in my quarters. I'll check. And I'm gonna go into my room.
Okay, so you walk up to your room, and it opens into the extra-dimensional space that is sort of your configured room area. Make an investigation check, because there are lots of papers scattered everywhere. And then I will give you your information that all these are. Let's go ahead and put this right in front of us.
I was almost gonna roll an intelligence check.
While he's doing that, question for the DM.
Yeah.
When they brought the ship over, the airship, did any of the stuff that fell off it, like crates or anything, come with it?
Everything was thankfully kept within the under section cargo area.
Bottom deck.
Yes, the deck of
so
bottom.
We didn't lose like supplies or.
Oh, you mean during the crash? I thought you meant while it was flying through the air at you.
No, the stuff that fell out in the crash, did that kind of get swept up with it, or is that still in the woods?
It didn't seem to be flying through the air. Only the vessel.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Result of the investigation?
12.
Okay, let me think for a second.
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, you find something. You dig through mounds and mounds of papers and parchments and pages, but eventually you find a rolled up scroll that is filled with scrawlings, but a recognizable picture of an airship and what it's supposed to look like and the things, but obviously it's going to still need a lot of intricate workings with very specific direction.
Mm-hmm. You know, I was wondering about that. I'll go ahead and take that and anything that would also help out a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll walk out of the room.
So you walk out of the room, making sure to close the door behind you. And it locks, and that's all. So you make your way out. Any luck in there?
Yes, I'm coming with some reference material that might assist you better than any words from my mouth.
You there, you, not you, is it? You, and you. Oh, and yes, you too. Pointing at each of the people individually. And they all begin to sort of shuffle quickly forward. Almost looking as if they're gliding, really.
Missing animation.
Until you hop down out of the airship. It's about a foot drop. And you're kind of just carrying a bundle of parchments.
This, and this are for more of the interior. Some of the things you might want to work around. This, and this would help you with more of a general idea of the shape and
you, and you, but not you. I need you to do something else. You, and not you, and not you, and not you, and you. Make sure you see exactly what's going on here. I have no idea what they're supposed to be doing. You go ahead and see what's going on.
I'll leave these to you, I suppose. I'll give it to the last one he pointed to. That said, you get on that.
Yes, you. Yes, him. No, not him. Not him. Not her. Not her. Not him. Not her. But
Wait,
him. Yes. One? Yes, him. Him.
Okay.
Yes, him.
But not that one.
No, not that one. Are we ready to montage?
What about that one?
Question.
Yeah.
Is there like a ladder built into the side of the ship, or is it?
There's a rope ladder.
Okay. I'd like to take that up and then go inside and go into my room.
Okay.
And as I go in there, take the armor off, get in the water, and just kind of burble.
Burble noise.
Do the bellow
Lizard
noise.
Alright. Are we ready to montage?
I have one question.
Okay.
Oh, I whistled hello.
You did.
Our extra dimensional rooms won't get tampered with at all, right?
Not really.
Yeah. Didn't think so. That was my question. Montage!
Montage! So,
Just imagine them gliding around.
they begin to glide and sort of fly upwards, and you begin to see the painstaking process of how long it takes to druid craft more of this material. It takes the majority of the day, and the night begins to creep over the valley, and the night sky begins to grow more and more dark. Though from this sort of view, the midnight blue of the horizon, the stars shine very brightly. And after a very, very long day of working and not resting even once, everybody eventually follows the schematics. Both Ponzi and Grafford speak in unison. Grafford is constantly answering questions that Ponzi is asking about what certain thing needs to be where, so that way Ponzi can then say, you, do that. And all instructions are followed to the letter until about halfway through the day, when Ponzi stops everyone. Grafford, there is still something that we need to ask you.
What might that be?
We need to know what your decision on converting this aerial vessel into one that is capable of carrying a team of infiltrators towards some sort of holding area of which the young prince might be held in. We need to be able to transport a large amount of people, and this vessel does not provide said space. So,
What is your answer? Do we alter during the repair process so that way we can take a small team of people?
I would say so, honestly. That would make more of the repair process easier. Just adding on a sort of addition.
Well, question as a player.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's something Graffert would know.
Hmm.
As an answer to that. Actually, no, never mind. That's metagaming.
Okay. DM it
was
to me
gonna
anyway
say-
because I'm curious, but we'll just continue what we're doing.
But yes, I do think we should make some sort of addition during the repair process.
Well, we have two ways about going about it. These druids are very, very capable with their wood shaping, and we have two possibilities. One that will take several days to complete, and one that will take longer, but in the future might be more preferable to certain situations. One would be just to, the one that would take a shorter amount of time, would be to simply increase the physical size of the vessel, stretching it out and making it less of a personal vessel and into a transportation vessel. I am unsure if you're very familiar with that of seafaring vessels, but that is only the experience that I have. I have never worked on an airship, so I'm only comparing it to what I am familiar with. The other would be to physically enchant the wood, so that way it would first keep its properties of aviation, but also able to stretch between two sizes, one that is how it is now, and then the other for our purposes. But it would take several more days for the people of skill, with said skill set, to be able to do so.
Well, they are on quite a time crunch. We don't know what they're doing with Raldir. But that might go against some of the regulations we have at the Beholded Reserve.
Say again?
As much as I'd hate to say it, we might have to go with the second option.
I see. So then I would have to estimate that that would take about a week of building, and well, it would take several days of repair, but the enchantment process of itself to be able to safely increase or decrease the size without damaging the cargo within or altering the cargo within through magical means, especially that of those intricate rooms that were in the lower deck. So it will take some time just to make sure that everything is safe and taken care of.
Will we need to move anything from within those rooms?
No. It's simply just an intricate process that would increase the size of the material and allowing it to enlarge, similar to if you're familiar with the magical spell. I'm not one for enchantment myself, but I have studied quite very intently upon it, and I'm quite knowledgeable, but not quite to do it myself, though I can say that it will take time.
Well, how long would our first option be?
Our first option would be done in the next several days, but the second option would be done in about a week and a half.
Aries, is there regulation on tampering with the ships?
Normally, there would be, but you made that one, remember?
Yeah. I just thought about how much, more space it'd take in the docking.
Your decision, man. It's your call.
Again, as much as I'd hate to say it, I think the second option would be the preferred one.
Right then. So we will be notifying the figures of importance with what they will need to know. Tomorrow there will be the meeting with which I will be attending, so that way I can explain to everyone that will be taking part in what your decision was. Of course, you will be there, but not your companions, and it will be with the captain and several other very important people that will be crucial in the success of our operation.
Understood.
Righty then. So we will continue to work. I will notify the people that need to be notified. It would be best, as it is now getting very late, if you were to go about your business.
What does he mean by that?
He begins to walk towards the trees so that we can go and open the door.
Oh, okay. I thought he was like, okay, just wait in the ship or something. Yeah, okay. You heard him? Let's go.
You're gonna have to go get Yizit from his room.
Wait, isn't Patan on the on the top of the ship too?
Mhm.
I'd have to yell that out.
Yep.
Patan!
What? What?
Where did Yizit go?
I believe. Do I know? Did I see him go down?
Yeah, he's in. It was very obvious that he walked up the rope ladder and then went down.
I think he went down to his room.
Well, I'm gonna have to climb up the rope ladder now, because I can't jump up to the hole. Can I?
Do you need a boost?
I can try
Would
to
you
help
be
him
so
out.
kind?
Time to get out some dice.
Let's go!
Natural 20!
Alright, put your foot right here, and up you go!
And he throws you upwards.
On top of the deck of the ship.
Sure!
Flare.
Oops!
I'm gonna look down and just thumbs up.
Okay.
Oh, come on, he should be more excited.
You don't know
Yeah,
him. Maybe this is normal.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'll go down and knock on Yizit room.
Yizit slides out of the water and
Slithers.
just on all fours, except the one arm he reaches up and opens the door, and he's on eye-to-eye level with Crawford.
Naked.
Yep.
Heck
I'm
yeah.
not fazed by this.
Oh, it's
Ponzi said that we should be heading out. So, please, get your armor on. We'll be leaving post-haste.
Yeah.
he vomits up a bone.
Yeah.
And he's just dripping this, like, stagnant black water. But, yeah, it doesn't even bother shutting the door. Just stands up, slaps the armor back on, grabs his weapons and gear, and walks out.
And then
I'll close
everybody
the door.
begins to make their way back towards the trees, out past the trees. He walks just within range to open up the door and close it without accidentally leaving behind the airship and letting it get lost in the forest again. And all three of you make your way through and begin to make your way back towards the castle. And for the sake of time, we're going to be doing a quick little time skip over to the meeting. Since we are on a schedule, Yizit and Patan, you are free. Just wait until feedback time.
Okay.
Nope.
Alrighty then. So, the serviceman comes back in the morning and leads you out towards your escort. You are escorted by 4 guards towards the barracks, and as you are led towards up the stairs to the second floor of the barracks towards a door in the center of a wall with 5 doors, 2 on either side and then the one in the center. You are led inside, and inside you see several figures. You see the captain, you see Ponsilius, you see Twergeth, you see the 3 other captains of the guard and army. One of them being a very, very large individual in very large armor, and a not so familiar figure, an elf, completely garbed in greenish brownish robes, has 2 large deer antlers coming out of his very long hair that connects into a huge beard that goes down to about his chest, which is very interesting because, as you can see, he is an elf, and elves do not typically have facial hair. But he carries a long, long beard, and sticking out of his beard are many, many, many twigs and other pieces of branches or other bits of nature. And his cloak is adorned with several leaves of different seasons, and there are several mushroom mushroom tables. You know the type of mushroom I'm talking about.
The flathead ones?
Yeah, the very flathead ones that are kind of growing out of what appears to be his shoulders. He has a very large sort of wood knotted staff. Like, it's a large branch almost, but at the top of it is a knot of wood. And it's giving off a sort of very faint greenish glow.
Thank you for joining us, Grafford of the Beholded Reserve, captain of your assigned team. These are the minds of the operation, some of which you are very familiar with. We have Ponsilius IV, our chief engineer and leader of the craftsmen, who you were working in tandem with, and has notified us of your choice in assisting us. And firstly, I'd like to be the first to thank you for your continued assistance in the search for the young prince.
There's no need to thank me. I'm as worried as any of you are, honestly.
Now then, there are many matters of importance that we are here to discuss. Just for some other introductions, these are the other captains of the guard and the army, and we will be working with them in very close communication. This is Twergeth, one of our finest and one of our best, and his father, Archmage Woodknot. Yes, hello, I am Woodknot. Oh, that didn't get picked up. Yes, hello. I am Archdruid Woodknot. It's very nice to meet you, Grafford.
It's my pleasure.
So, I was called here under the impression that the young prince had been assaulted and was immobile and incapable of movement, though I am very upset to hear that he has been taken from us. The woods do not speak of any birds like which you have described to me. But it does tell me some things. It tells me about the fires and the burning. It weeps. There's a sort of hush that falls over the room. And Twig is the first to speak. So, Grafford, Sir Grafford, in accordance with what you were wanting made, it will be made in 3 days, and it will be delivered, so that way we can work more, work better with communicating with Yizit. So, yes, that will be taken care of, but, that's enough. So, Grafford, once the modifications to your vessel have been made, you will be joined by some of our finest, and you will begin the search for anything that could relate to helping us find the young prince and princess. Over the past few days, we've been having our scouts search through the forest, and we have come across some very striking information. Before we begin to dive into it, is there anything that you'd like to say to anyone here? Any information of your own that you have gathered?
We haven't come across anything too striking other than what we encountered before the princess was stolen. But I'm sure you informed the others.
Regarding the forest fire that was mentioned in Twergath's report, we sent some of our scouts out to investigate the fire, and what we have gathered is that it was non-natural. It was indeed made by magical means, and thanks to our finest druid and studious individual, looking over at Twergath, he was able to analyze the spell trails and find us a lead towards where they might be holding the young prince. And he says, Arc Druid would not, if you would. Why, yes, of course. And he pulls out, from his shoulder, he pulls out one of the mushrooms, and it immediately sort of forms and grows back very rapidly as he plucks it out, and he puts it in the middle of the table, a smaller mushroom table on the table, and it begins to grow outwards, sort of redistributing itself and morphing and changing itself, until it's a sort of almost aerial view of the valley and the surrounding forests. This is where the trees speak of the forest being set ablaze, and if Twergath has analyzed the spell trails correctly, then the perpetrators of this terrible happenstance would be heading in this direction. He begins to move his finger sort of over this sort of small model. We believe that we have been unable to find them because they are constantly on the move. The woods and creatures have told me of men with skin of grey, and how they hunt and destroy the woods. This is most troubling to me, and the most concentrated effort would appear to be around this area. Right, so once your vessel is ready and equipped to carry a team, we will be sending you, as well as your companions and our finest, over to this area to investigate and get an aerial view. Of course, you will be equipped with wards and enchantments to stave off those that have been placed upon the forest. So that way you do not get lost, and you are protected from anything that would come to harm of the natural nature of the wood.
Understood. Now, if we were to find them, how many will you be sending with us?
Concilius, after the alterations, how many will be able to fit aboard the new vessel?
Well, I believe it would be about 20 people in total, 3 of which counting for the, firstly for the driver, Grafford of course, and his 2 companions, and then we could bring along 17 of ours.
Right. So, you will be accompanied by 17 of our finest.
And of yourselves?
We believe that if you take one of us along with you, then there will be no one to lead if they are to attack the homeland. We must stay behind, though Torgeth will be joining you.
Yes, I've known the young prince for a very, very long time, and it would, I want to go. I want to go too.
All right. So 20 of us in total. And we have no idea how many their numbers account to?
That is regrettably the truth. There is no telling how many there might be. Our scouts have, those that have returned, have not reported on any numbers. Well, that is where I might be able to shed some light like that of the morning sun upon the canopy of the wood, warming it and welcoming it into the world. The small birds and squirrels, they tell me, they whisper to me, and they speak of these ashen gray people, and they say that they fall from the sky many times when they do hunt and destroy. It is in relatively small numbers, but there have been many, many different faces. Not so much that they could tell me how many, but it would be in the best interest if we took the most precaution.
I know of 2 for right now, and we might have to be extremely cautious.
If each and every one of their soldiers are just as powerful as those who had infiltrated and taken the young prince and princess, then we will, I regret to say this, at chance, be starting a full-out war. If there are that many.
In regards to power, the last time I had talked with the young prince, they had stolen his blueprints for the weapon he had created. So we might as well be prepared to be fighting against that sort of weapon.
What weapon are you speaking of? The young prince was never properly trained in combat. He was taught how to rule.
Has he not told you of the thunder cannon?
The thunder what?
It is a sort of...
Is it a cannon that spits thunder? And if so, what is a cannon?
It is, in theory, 10 times stronger than any normal archer's bow.
That is concerning.
From what I've seen, it has massive destructive capabilities. And if each one is outfitted with one, then we may need to prepare ourselves a bit more.
This is concerning news. Do you know of how this thunder cannon could be dealt with, since you, seemingly, based upon your words, have spent a large amount of time with the young prince during his absence from the kingdom? Do you know of any sort of protection that could be used against it?
Can I make a history check?
Sure, why not?
I don't like sure, why not? We'll give it a shot, right? 10.
You know that it's extremely powerful, but enough armor could probably stop the bullets.
I'm certain with enough armor there might be a chance to deflect the projectiles that it shoots.
So, why is it called a thunder cannon if it fires projectiles that can be blocked by armor?
Well, when the young prince shot it, it had it was a bluish glow, right?
Mhm.
Like a sort of bluish glow. And sorry, I'm asking you a lot.
Nope, I'm not gonna answer anymore.
Uh,
You got a 10.
I don't. Oh, no, I wasn't sure if it chained. If like
You got a 10. I gave you what you got. Try and describe it.
I'm more than certain I saw what could have looked like some sort of enchanted lightning springing from projectile to projectile, as well as a thunderous boom.
So, what you're saying is that these projectiles dance with lightning between them. So, not only do we need to arm ourselves against a potential enemy which wields the power of thunder, but also projectiles that can pierce armor. We need to both prepare on the physical and magical front.
I'm certain the last time I had seen one of them that wielded one, it seemed very shoddily made, but that doesn't really matter in this case. It wouldn't hurt to prepare ourselves more than we need to.
I see. So, the captain begins to look around the room. We have but a week and a half in order to prepare. You, points over at Poncilius. I would like you to begin working with your craftsmen and begin to test against certain descriptions that we have been given against projectiles that dance with lightning, things that would prevent lightning from destroying or ricocheting between our soldiers' armors.
Right on it, sir.
Twergeth,
Yes?
I would like you to begin searching in this area immediately.
Yes, I can do that. I can take a wild shape and I can fly around and
Hold.
see what I can.
I have remembered one last thing that I may need to warn you about.
Uh,
The other one that we had come in contact with seemed to control fire. We may need to defend ourselves against that as well.
Got it. Is that all?
From what I know.
All right. I can begin to scope out the area. I will take a small squadron of guards as well that can go and help in my scouting.
Yes, that is what you must do. And do not follow the spell trails any further. You will report back immediately. Now then, if you will excuse me, I must begin making preparations and catching up with some old friends of mine. They were rather excited to see me the last I was here. And Would Not turns around and sort of gently places his hand along the wall and sort of just melds through it, almost like passing through water, and kind of just exits the room that way. Right then. That would mean that I believe we are done here. The preparations are now in motion. If there is anything that comes to light, Twergeth, that would concern our preparations, report back immediately. Otherwise, I want you out there every day until the mission begins.
Right. I've got it.
Don't do anything reckless. We're gonna need you.
Got it.
Right then. Everyone, to your positions. You know what you have to do. Alright. And with that, you are free. Because as we change our scene over to Raldir. So, Raldir. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. So, last we left off, Raldir had met with the Undying Flame herself. After meeting and speaking with one another, we will be picking up right there. Cog walks out of the shadows once again. Right, so I guess I will be showing you to the workshop. Everything is in motion, my lady, my flame. Please, come with me.
I'm gonna say, kind of under my breath, oh, then, yes, let's get this over with.
Right. Now then, please, stay very close.
And she grabs onto your wrist and sort of begins to walk back in towards the pitch blackness. And as you begin to pass through it, it feels very, very cold, almost as if some sort of sludge is moving against your arms. And all you can feel is a sort of tug of Cog's hand pulling you through, until eventually all you begin to hear is very, very loud sounds of metal scraping against metal or shifting and banging, and the sound of air being pressurized and depressurized and sort of squeaking out as your vision begins to focus once again, and you see a large cavernous room filled with several hundred people constantly working almost in sort of a sweatshop style, making thunder cannons.
Oh my god.
So this is the brains of the operation, and she's sort of pointing towards herself.
What are the conditions of this, of this big place? Like, are they visibly very poor?
It's very, very hot. And as you begin to look around, you see several huge pipes that are leaking out pressurized air every once in a while between rivets, and huge gears that are easily the size of 2-story buildings along the walls, like shifting and turning slowly.
Yeah. At seeing this room, I'm going to look, just kind of, as I'm scanning the room, say, well, not the best working conditions, but, okay.
This is my pride and joy. All of them working to create my invention, or rather my interpretation of your invention.
That's better.
Soon, all of our revolutionaries will be wielding a thunder cannon of their own. And without any sort of proper resistance against the thunder cannon, let's just say that the people of Iron Grove won't know what's coming.
Now, I said that I might help you, but I do have one problem. What of my companions?
Well, as the flame told you, if they lay down their arms and don't get in our way, then they won't be harmed.
What would it take for them to be brought here as well, so I may consult with them?
Well, currently we don't have any other way of getting into Iron Grove, thanks to that Arc Druid of yours. Though, unless you have some method of communicating with your allies, we might be able to arrange some sort of meeting.
Oh, hold on.
As Reldir pulls up his inventory screen.
Yes, I pull up my tablet.
Scrolling.
Well, to make things easy. No, okay, I suppose not.
Well, that is a shame then. But please, follow me.
Okay.
And she begins to take her way down the steps to your left, and into a sort of side room off of the sweatshop. And it's a very, very clean-looking interior of a sort of tinkerer's workshop. Several tools are scattered around across tables, and it's actually very, very, very similar to your workshop, at least in layout.
So I see just another thing that was copied of mine.
No, that was a happy coincidence, actually. This is just what feels most comfortable.
Ah, well, that is true. Feels just like home, I suppose.
It does. Now, please, if you could show me what I got wrong. And she reaches underneath one of the tables that's sort of set up in a U formation and pulls out some big blue blueprints. She never turns her back to you. She's always facing straight forwards towards you. And she sort of lays it across the table and places her own version of the thunder cannon beside it. I have some idea as to where I got it wrong.
Well, I suppose I'm going. I'll point things out, but yeah. I'll point out where she went wrong. Just kind of. I'm probably not even gonna hide it because I mean, like I said back in the throne room, I'm kind of at their whim. So I'll even make attempts to try and help fix it, just because yeah.
Ah, I see. So it was in the materials for creating the Thunder Chamber. Unfortunately, we don't have the materials in order to create an exact replica, but if what you're saying is right, then we could make a few alterations here and make a slightly less powerful but more efficient and less costly to make version of the Thunder Cannon. But I'm not quite sure how we could go about that. The Thunder Chamber is a very, very unique sort of situation or method of basically using the raw power. You have almost bridged the gap between mechanization and enchantment magic by doing this, right?
Well, I spent a lot of time in the castle growing up, and basically unlimited funding and resources. So it was just a matter of time with the resources I had at hand.
Must have been nice. So, we can brainstorm about that a little bit more a little later, but I've been working on something that you might be interested in. I call it the STLNT. And she pulls out a very thin, single-barreled firearm, almost with a sort of handle like the thunder cannon, but a very large thunder chamber. I've been working on this, and it can fire at distances of 1,200 to 1,500 feet. It fires a single shot with deadly precision. What do you think?
Can I just inspect it?
Yeah.
Just kind of to see how well this is made and if it legitimately could work as it's being advertised.
Make an investigation check.
Got it.
And add your proficiency again, even if you're proficient with investigation. Are you proficient with investigation?
I am not.
Okay, so then just add your proficiency bonus once. Throw the dice.
And what is proficiency? Right at this level, I mean?
+3.
+3, so that's 13.
As you're going through and sort of inspecting it meticulously, at the distance that Cog is comfortable with you being at, as you try to get closer, she's just like, no, you can look at it from there. You sort of begin to look over it, and the design is very, very sleek. It appears to be able to funnel all of the power of the thunder into a single shot, instead of just loading almost with several smaller
bits of ammunition and then using the raw force of the thunder's propelling capabilities to fire it forward, and sort of just concentrates all of that, funneling it down into that single barrel. And you would need to see it tested, but due to how it's made, at least from what you can see, it does seem to work as advertised, but you're still skeptical.
Okay. Well, I mean, it isn't of my design, so I mean, I would want to see it tested before I had any verdict on it, but I mean, from what I'm seeing now, it looks relatively good.
Oh, this is just a prototype. Definitely not going to be going into massive production anytime soon. In fact, as she pulls up a small little disc and presses it against her mouth, everyone inside the workstation, please make, and then she begins to list off alterations to every single produced thunder cannon. We are in good hands. And then she puts it down. And you hear a muffled version of that same thing that she says from outside in the workshop. Almost kind of like a magic PA system.
Yeah, yeah. I will just look on impressed.
You know, when there are a lot of people who have been put in this position that they've been put in by your father and his people, there are a lot that they would do, either for revenge or for closure. And the resources aren't unlimited, but every time I make something, they treat me so well. Every time I create something for them, they see the value in it. And the flame can see how I'm useful and what I can bring for our people. Everybody encourages what I do and doesn't want me to stop doing it. Because, well, that's kind of just the life that we need to live. Sure, it's making weapons of war, but war is necessary when one side doesn't agree to talking.
I suppose that's respectable, and any inventor deserves a high amount of respect.
So, Prince, tell me, when you were talking with the flame, you said that you hadn't been home in a long time. Why'd you leave if it was such a great life?
Well, I saw the difference between upper class living and lower class living, and I saw how the poorer folk in the city were treated, and I wanted to go off to possibly, maybe gather things, gather riches, just anything to try to attempt to come back to make the lives of the pettier of citizens a little bit better, I suppose.
Even with your words, you look down on them. Here, there is no such thing. There are no upper classes or lower classes. We are all brothers and sisters in the cinder and the undying flame. Well, dear, if I may call you that.
Yes, that is fine.
When we take Iron Grove, and we take all the people that surrender and begin building again, life's gonna change for the better, you know? All of these people won't be without a home.
Sure, the island is really big, especially with how we've changed it, but it's not the same as being able to walk among the woods without getting lost and dying of starvation. It's not the same as walking through the plains and following the streams. When I was a little girl, I was a wood elf too. I would walk in the forest and I would follow the river and get rocks and stones and make little machines that would fling them around, and it was fun. I used to live in a small little group of people that would move through the trees and live off the land. We loved nature just as much as you did. We would never destroy it without reason. We would never take more than we needed. And we never bothered anyone. But that wasn't enough, was it? What do you have to say? None of us are gonna hold you responsible for the sins of your father. I suppose we can keep calling him. But you're not like them. You're not an elf.
Well, even if I'm not, I mean, those are still the people who I can remember for my entire life were my guardians and took me in if they are not my real parents. And so that's all I've ever known. So I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, I know you say I'm not a prisoner, but I mean, I suppose I'm at your whim because I don't know what would happen if I refused. But I don't know what to say. I mean, you know, if this is true, then my father's a bad man, but I don't know. I wasn't there to see anything that he did. I can't say for sure if I believe or not.
You've been through the forests. We watched you crash land off of your airship. If it weren't for you, all of your friends would have died. They would have been lost in that forest for weeks, and they would have died of starvation. Or even longer, they would have survived if your vessel had food on it and a way to live. It wouldn't be long until they were found and killed. That's why we always have to keep moving. Because if we don't, they'll find us and they'll eradicate us. Without even a second thought, without even a single word. They will kill every single one of us like they have in the past. I'm the only one left from my people.
Well, again, I'm at your will here, so I mean, I suppose I have no...
Stop saying that. If you were a prisoner, I would lock you in a dark room by yourself with nothing to do. I'm telling you this so you can see the struggle of what our people have been through.
If I wasn't a prisoner, I wouldn't be kidnapped in the first place.
You weren't kidnapped. We brought you away from the people who were clouding your vision. I could have disabled you. I could have taken your legs away from you and you would have never walked again. I could have killed you. You didn't even see me coming. You didn't hear me. And as I was aiming to take the shot, I looked at you and I saw a boy who didn't understand. A boy who was lost. A boy who had been puppeted and controlled and only shown what he was supposed to see. I could have taken out all my rage on you and your family. I could have killed you and left you there to die. Like my own brother, like my own sister. But I didn't. Because I was reborn in the flame and I left all of that behind me. I didn't kill you when I could have. And I couldn't say a lot for the same people that are here. But if you were just to join us, you could be the face of the revolution. You could be the face that changes the hearts and minds of the rest of the people of Amali. It's hard to see that the people that you thought were the good guys are the bad guys, and I know that. I used to think people that would take from the forest were bad, but they're just trying to live, just like us. And they don't know. And that's why we're not going to kill anybody who surrenders. We're not mindless murderers. You don't know fear until you watch your mother beg for her life just to be stabbed in the throat. And I could, right here. And she holds up one of the two thunder cannons. I could just kill you right here, in a room, in a place where you don't know where you are, and that would be the end of it. You could fight me, but you would lose. You could kill me, but it wouldn't matter. There are so many people in here that want to tear you to pieces, you know. But they won't. Because all of us want to believe that even someone like you can see this pain that we're going through. And she puts it back down. And you could tell that she was getting very emotional during that, especially when she was talking about her family.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I'm going to look at her, I'm gonna say, well, I mean, I'm flattered that you want me to lead your rebellion, be the face, but I mean, if I wanted to be the leader of anybody, I wouldn't have left the city for so long, and don't get me wrong, if what you're saying is true, then your cause is a just one, but I mean, like I said, if I wanted to live the life of a leader, I wouldn't have left in the first place.
Show some remorse, damn you. Why can't you just see? You're already helping us. We're going to kill the people who have been killing us. How can you not see that they're so bad and evil?
If you're already so certain that you're going to kill them, why do you need my help then? Why am I still here?
Because we expect any day now that they're going to begin searching the skies. We should have burned that airship when we found it, but we couldn't risk the opportunity that you were making for us. It won't be long until they find us. And we have to be ready for that. If only you could see past all of the clouds that they've made in front of you. You're not a prisoner, Raldir. You're not a prisoner. You're the hope of a people. You're not an elf, but they treat you like one. You're not an elf, you're not even their blood, but you're still a prince. You don't know how many people tried to be like you.
How many people went to Iron Grove trying to escape all of the bad men in the silver suits that would come and kill them, just to be met with swords at their throats? All of the bloodshed, all of the bodies in the forest. And what are you gonna do about it?
Well, I mean, you already have my technology. I mean, what more do you want from me?
We want someone to understand, someone inside who knows the royalty, who can speak. All of us have tried so many times to meet with them, only to be met at sword point or at the tip of an arrow. Every time we went to try and talk with them, we knew we were sending people to their deaths. But they went anyway. They volunteered and they went anyway. They died a second time. Because they believe in peace. In peace without bloodshed. But that's not what your people believe in. I just wanted to be happy. Every time I make something, I feel a little bit of happiness inside of me until I'm reminded of why I had to make it. And then it's gone.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to fight for you, but I mean, what? You said just talk? I mean, because that's, I suppose, all I could do right now for you. I mean, I don't know what it's going to accomplish if you've sent people of your kind already. I don't know why they would be swayed by the young prince, as I'm called.
You don't understand your position, do you? You really don't.
I've been gone for my whole life. I don't stand much of any position anymore, much in the family. My sister bosses me around, and you've seen her. She is a young child.
Raldir, you are the young prince. You are the successor to the throne. All of us believe that you have the power to stop all of this bloodshed. It won't be long until they find us, like I said. And when they do, we will be ready to fight. But before we do, you need to talk to them. You need to tell them. Because we don't want to have to be the same kind of people that they are. Violence begets violence, and war only ends with more war. Be the voice of peace, Raldir. Be the shining beacon that we need you to be.
I guess with a sigh, I'm going to just blankly say, okay, I suppose I accept. But what are the exact things you want me to tell them? Or what conditions do you want put across?
I can't tell you that. You're gonna have to speak with the flame. I'm not kept in the loop about those sorts of things. But there is something you can do right now. There's a spare thunder chamber over there behind the shelf. Could you grab it?
I'm going to walk over to where she says, but I'm not going to turn my back to her.
If I wanted to kill you, you'd be dead, you know.
I'm going to lift up my hands like in a shrug and say, okay, yes, that is a fair point. And I suppose I'll turn around reluctantly and go over until I find it.
She was pointing at a pile, so you begin to dig through the stash, and you're searching in there for about 5 or so minutes. Just it's this big mound of different pieces of scrapped earlier prototypes until eventually you feel a sort of weight on your back, and she says, "No, that one." And as you sort of turn back around, she's completely naked and she forces herself upon you. And with that, we are going to end our episode. And we'll catch you next time for the next part in Arisen episode 15, a D&D 5e campaign from everybody here at D&D Universe. We'll be seeing you next time. Goodbye.
See ya.